Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Test Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we're live on a Tuesday at 7:42 in the Eastern Standard Time. And we're not alone. You probably saw from either the episode description or the title or just the context clues, or you're live on Crowdcast watching us. But we got a guest. It's a lot of people's fave, our fave, problematic fave, sure, but still a fave. It's my man JL Covan, comedian, impressionist, actor, producer, sketch writer.
Come on through, long list.
What doesn't this man do?
Come on,
other than get the credit he goddamn deserves. What's going on, JL Covan?
Well, it's a big. I'm happy. I'm here on Big News Day, and much like myself, we have great news about game theory being renewed.
Yeah,
but we also have abortion is done. So, and that's classic JL. That's classic me.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna front. Last night when the news broke that it leaked that the abortion decision, I forget what they call it, the thing that Alito wrote, I literally went, of course, we booked JL. Of course, it would be the day before he comes. Honest to God, it was like my first thought. I know it's a very selfish thought. Then I thought about the state of democracy and women and all that. But my first thought was like, I should have known. We booked JL. Some major fuckery was afoot. So
yeah, I have. If I could find out how to, it feels like we're in a movie where like we don't know the character's superpower. Like I have this power that I can't harness, but it just breeds disaster. And I need to just learn how to focus it. If I can just focus it, maybe it's like the eyes with the dude from X-Men where he's got to like put the glasses on and then it's under control. Like if he takes off his glasses, he just lasers everything.
Yeah, Cyclops.
Obviously, I'm a real comic book nerd. Yeah.
Thank you. As he pushes his glasses up. He's like, this is just for lawyer and stuff. That's why I wear my glasses. It wasn't for reading comic books like you nerds in the dark. But yeah, man, let's just start with the bummer news, okay? It looks like abortion is not gonna be a thing anymore federally. Anyway, it won't be protected federally, which means a lot of these states that have already been attacking it with the purpose of getting a Supreme Court judgment at some point. A lot of these states will just roll back the rights and be like, you can't get an abortion here anymore. And it's a thing that's been 50 years in the making. Conservatives never gave up. They're not like our side that doesn't get 10. They don't get 10 out of 10 things, so they just quit and go, why do I ever vote? Right. They said we only want one thing, and we actually don't care what comes along with it. We need to align ourselves with racists, and we need to align ourselves with and homophobes, whether we feel distasteful or not. If we need to align ourselves with rich people who will benefit from taxes that we will never see, we'll give that up in order to get the one fucking thing we want. And they have like 4 groups like that in their party, and even with a minority, they end up winning on days like this. And I saw some people trying to do the whole like, it's not about people not voting for Hillary. It's not about 2016. Respectfully, man, fuck y'all. You know exactly what people mean when they're like, we let the country down in 2016.
Yes, we did.
Hillary told everybody. And then Trump got 3 fucking Supreme Court nominations. 3. You can't act like
the worst person. Like he's the
right. Yeah, so you can't act like that.
I say my whole thing is. Oh, sorry. I guess
you got it. It's a little skipping.
I was gonna say, and I go back further because every complaint there's ever been about Democrats, they're always held to this because it's a bigger tent. They're always held to this bigger standard. But I'm like, so Al Gore was boring and a career politician. Well, that gives us George W. Bush, who gives us John Roberts. Then John Kerry is boring. So we keep Bush in office. Probably the one legitimate win by Republicans in the last, 30 years was his reelection, which stunned me. That gives us Samuel Alito, who is basically Scalia without any charm, charisma, or friends. So take that for what it's worth. Then Hillary Clinton's the worst, or we need a change, or we need somebody different. And Trump made it clear. And here's the thing, and I said this on my podcast last night, like I recorded late after this, because I was going to do I did a little bit of bitching, of course, about my career, but I said, this is too big to not make front and center. And I said, Trump ran, like Trump is one of the 5 to 10 most important presidents now, I think, in American history. And I'm not saying good, obviously, but when you talk about consequences, I mean, if he had won re-election, I don't even want to go, but if he had won re-election, Ukraine would be like a nuclear wasteland right now. That's just not necessarily America proper, but he got 3 justices, and he basically ran on that. He basically said, they'll give me a list. I'll pick from whatever list the hardcore dudes give me, and that's who we'll put on the court. And it's because Hillary Clinton, we need a change. We needed a change. Like she was a career politician, unlikable. And now people can have the likable, fun future that they asked for. And it is their fault. Like, you don't, I look at social media, and we all know this, negative content spreads faster because people are more motivated. Like, you want to, like, there's something about the hate and the anger that keeps you in it. Well, the Republican Party has been social media trolls for 50 years, even without social media and the internet. They have been operating with that same negative passion. Whereas we kind of go, well, we have the rights. Great. Moving on. And they just sit there in their analog basement of trolling, just angry and looking to get whatever angle they can to get a win. It's just about, they feel like losers, and they want the win.
It's so messed up because even in this leak thing that came out, they're now playing that they're the aggrieved party because how dare someone leak a Supreme Court opinion. So even in this moment where literally half the country has been told you have lost a right, they're like, you know who really should be mad? Us conservatives. Why are they telling you? The opinion isn't even finished yet. We need to do some grammar checks.
They can't let go, like, because the mode that succeeds for them is victim. Like, I once had an ex who was terrible to me. And I remember I was very upset at one point. And she said, and I'm going to try and get the quote right, but I then wrote into a joke like months later after the relationship when I was over it. But it was like, you're really making me, like, it was basically, you're really making me feel bad. Like, well, yes, you should. If you're a normal person, you hurt me. So me being hurt, not that I called her names or something, but it was like my wallowing and sadness was actually like bringing her down. And instead of interpreting that as, oh, I guess I did something wrong, it was like, can you not do that? And like, that's the Republican mindset, is this, like, we always have to be in the, we are crying while we beat you to death because we feel so bad. You're making us feel bad about murdering you.
Yeah, it's every abuser.
Can you not do that?
Yeah, it's every abuser.
Look what you made me do.
Yeah, what did you make me do
this?
But yeah, so it was obviously a terrible night to find all that out, but it's also one of those things that we know has been coming. Like, all of us that have been on this side of the equation have been like, yeah, so y'all do realize this Hillary Clinton thing is huge.
It's going
and
to
I think
matter.
A lot of people don't realize we're not touchdown dancing. We're mad. like if you see us ranting and raving and talking about it, it's because we're not going to just move on, because we were right. We weren't being listened to. We were barely listened to in 2020. And these people are still trying to do the mental gymnastics of why this is nothing's ever their fault. They want all the credit, none of the blame. And it's so fucking selfish. They're selfish as anti-maskers with this whole, like, it's not my, like, I saw someone say something, they were like, you know what? I guess this is why I don't vote, because the only vote that matters is Supreme Court. And I just wanted to like strangle them. I'm glad the internet hasn't invented a way to strangle a motherfucker from this side of the screen, because it's such the gymnastics you have to do to make it seem like the Supreme Court is a thing that just happens, like sans nobody, and then the solution to the thing that got here by us doing nothing. Apathy brought this to us. The solution is more apathy. How the fuck are you doubling down now? How has no one been shaken awake by this? It's really disgusting to see. So yeah, horrible night. But
and I mean, in 2016, they stole a Supreme Court seat. Like, in other words, the right was like, yes, steal that shit. And the left and the apathetic left, which is the majority of the left, I think, was like, oh man, like that, man, McConnell sucks. No, it should have been like, destroy them. Like we don't stand our ground. They came into our house, stole our shit, and we went, should I call the police? Whereas the other side is going into the house.
Right. We shouldn't go to the next home game. Like, that's how we're like, oh, the team lost, would the refs cheated them in overtime and they lost by 1 point. It's like when the Grizzlies lost by 1 point to the Warriors. It's like if the Grizzlies fans didn't show up tonight. They're like, well, but they lost by 1 point. Fuck them. And you're like, no, nigga, they were that close. You know, it'd be dope if we all showed up and then the team won by 30. That's what Republicans do. They're like, we will keep showing up until we win this bitch by 30. And we're like, we didn't win them all, guys. Got to go home. It was worth nothing. And so it's just,
well, even worse. We'll blame the team. Yeah, we'll blame the team when the ref steals the game, or I'm trying to think of like a dirty player. Royce O'Neal. I'll just make it a Jazz player.
Yeah, you know who it is. Come on.
Royce O'Neal goes and tackles Ja Morant midair. He misses the layup. The ref doesn't call the foul, and then the crowd starts booing Ja Morant.
Right, exactly.
Like he was supposed to. Like he was supposed to hit the layup after getting tackled midair.
And even worse, they're like, yeah, the Royce O'Neal and them won, but it's like, honestly, it's really the same either way. You're like, what? We were rooting for one team, bitch. What are you doing?
And I saw Marianne Williamson today. Marianne Williamson dropped one of those tweets where she was like, do something. And I quote tweeted it and was like, the House passed the bill. The Senate can't because of Joe Manchin. And that's so popular among that, like the outrage of, well, do something. Like we haven't agreed that we're going to violate the rules and the laws yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, we're bound by Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. So, and this idea of like people doing nothing, complaining about Biden, not voting for eighth party candidates. And then when shit like this happens, tweeting all caps, then do your job.
And why does tweeting count as doing something? Like, tweeting is the most do nothing in ass thing you can do. Like, of the y'all didn't do anything because Joe Biden didn't tweet about it. Like, because the job is harder than tweeting. Tweeting, you can get a consensus, you get retweets and likes and shares. What are you saying that's going to convince Manchin and Sinema? Like, even when it's Bernie or somebody who has ironically been very chill under Biden as president.
Fucking quiet, ain't he?
Which is, I'm not saying it was a sexism thing, but it feels like a sexism thing. And that if Hillary was running the country exactly as Biden was, I feel like Bernie be popping up on every weekly show with like, this bitch ain't shit, and I still don't fuck with her. But anyway,
cancel student debt.
Yeah. Yes, Bernie, come back. But yeah, so but my point being, like, it does feel like when I see a politician tweet now, honest to God, man, I don't even care if I agree with them. I don't even care who it is. I just roll my eyes. I don't give a fuck. Nope. It's the least. You're not doing shit. If you have the ability to pass a bill, submit a bill, don't be tweeting, be submitting that bill. It should be a rule. You can't tweet anything you haven't proposed as a bill. So, like, because they be tweeting shit that they know ain't that popular, that won't happen, but it's popular on Twitter. So they be like, I believe Joe Biden should make every student loan officer suck the people's dicks who owe money. And you're like, go propose that shit then.
He can do it in one signing of a document. Right. He can make it happen. And so why isn't he? Let me tell the student debt thing, and I know this is easy for me to say. I lived at home for a couple of years. I didn't have a ton of student debt, but giving up years 25 and 26 to live with your parents so you can pay off your student debt is a sacrifice. Not everybody can do it, but it was a social sacrifice. Right. But so I know I'm coming from a place of somewhat economic privilege that I didn't have like the crushing debt.
But it's not like you were crushing
people. I honestly think right. But for me, I think the people don't realize how bad I think a student debt like forgiveness thing will backfire. I know the AOCs of the world and the Elizabeth Warrens, they have their reasons. I don't think they're saying it flippantly. I don't think they're being assholes about it. But I swear, I use my mom as an example. Okay, blue collar. I never voted Republican in her life. Okay, won't start now. But even she kind of pauses and she goes, well, I broke my ass to put my kids in college, and you're going to tell me just everybody now gets it forget. And that's somebody clearly on this side, just thinking about, just absorbing that information. Anybody in the middle who didn't go to college, like that is going to be, I know Biden struggles with that demographic, but there were still plenty of blue collar white people who voted for Biden, not nearly what they did for Trump.
It's not even just that, like, because this white backlash thing is very real. That backlash will be real, but it's not even just that. It's the fundamental theory that so many people believe on Twitter that is just not. We don't have any evidence of it, which is if you do liberal things, people will be so great. People will be so grateful. They will make sure you're reelected ad infinitum.
That's not true.
And we don't have any proof that that's true. And we have people who have done things like the fucking governor of Virginia that fucking legislated them into a liberal utopia. And they were still like, nah, we kind of like not learning about racism for our kids better than we like, smoking weed and getting voting day off. Like that's the logic. They never have that. They never have whatever it is to then say this is the evidence. It's always a theory that everyone's so politically plugged in that they're gonna be like, oh, we have to make sure that this stays like this. And show me the evidence of that one.
Can I drop a bar here? I think that just came to mind.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get my
Democrats
sound effect ready. Hold on before you drop this bar. Hold on one second.
Yeah, please do.
I need to get the bombs ready. Almost. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say Democrats act like if they do something good, their voters will show up to say thank you. But all Republican voters do is show up to say fuck you. And people are way more motivated to say F you than thank you. Yeah. But that's
Run
it. Like, that is it in a nutshell, I think. Once Democrats and progressives get what they want, and maybe it's human nature, but they're just gonna go, oh cool, I'm gonna stay home and enjoy my legal weed and my day off and my benefits or my tax break or whatever. I'm gonna enjoy that. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Oh, go vote. Well, I already have what I want. Why do I have to go vote for it? Why do I have to say thank you? I'm good. Whereas Republicans never leave that FU mentality.
And keep in mind, like, this is their Supreme Court. So, like, these executive orders, you can't rule by fiat. Like, there's processes to challenge these things. Biden's had multiple multiple EOs struck down.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that said, oh, it'll be fine, it won't, they never show up and go, whoops, I guess I was wrong. They won't let you just overturn the immigration rules with an EO. Mm-mm. They won't let you like I don't like they're like this. We can unprecedentedly cancel student debt relief, and everyone's gonna be okay. And you're like, I don't know that we can cancel that, but what's the plan for when they strike it down? They didn't the rent moratorium. He tried to rule that by EO, and the fucking like Congress people were standing out in front. They did the whole thing, and then they went home because they didn't want to legislate it themselves or try to build a consensus. They went the fuck back to where they from. It, like Biden got it. Biden writes that shit, struck down by a judge. No one's talked about how y'all need to get your ass back in that room, get in a session, and do the moratorium if you care so fucking much. It's such bullshit, and I hate that, you know, I'm surrounded by people that clearly paid no attention in civics class, and every day we have a day like this, you got to watch them be loud and fucking wrong all day. So, hey, JL, do me a favor.
One last thing.
Okay,
should I exit and come back in?
Yeah, I was gonna say refresh because we got a delay on our side. Yeah, so he's gonna refresh and then come back with it, guys. I'm sorry, but you know, I think the delay was just killing us. It sounded weird, and people are gonna think JL is stupid when they hear it because they're like, "Why is JL taking so long to respond?" And I don't want people to think that.
Am I good? Is it
all right? Let's check. I'm gonna say something and you respond. Hey JL, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you, Rod.
Perfect. All right, let me unpause this. Boom. All right, we had some technical difficulties on the back end. If you were live, you saw them. If not, I'm just telling you because we're a transparent podcast here, y'all. But JL, you said you want to say one more thing?
Yeah, the thing that's been bothering me since January 6th that is going to come true, and I can't believe it. Now, maybe this case will be enough to stop either the Senate and or the House from going Republican. But if the Senate and the House flip to Republican, I don't care what the trends are that, the incumbent always loses. This is January 6th and the end of Roe v. Wade. If those aren't enough to shift the historical trend, then we are fucked. And for Kevin McCarthy, who is so dumb and full of shit, and Mitch McConnell to pay really no penalty for their acquiescence to Trump, they literally will take power the very next opportunity that the calendar allowed for. Like literally just, we didn't do anything about the coup and we just sucked up to Trump or said nothing. And then we sat and watched the right to choice go away. And thank you. You've rewarded us with power to stop the remaining 2 years of Joe Biden's administration. Like that's time. It's time to give up. Like I know people go, we can't give up. We have to fight. Fuck that. That's time to give up. And I'm not like
those people. This is my thing. The people who have already like quit or whatever, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's really nihilism, and it's to get the rest of us to succumb to it, right? It's like we just won't do anything, and it pisses me off so much because we fucked off 2016, and that's why we got what we got now. And people think the solution is more fucking off, and they're still saying somehow this is Democrats' fault. I've been on this page, and I'm gonna stay on this page. It's people's fault.
Right.
You're seeing the same information I'm seeing. The conclusion you're arriving to is to do nothing. That's your fault. And I'm never going to blame a politician for your ass seeing what I'm seeing and being like, I think it'll be all right. Like, what the fuck? Like, it feels like Don't Look Up, where when they're yelling at the like at the people at home, like, the fucking asteroid is coming, and everyone's like, maybe we should look into that. I don't know, maybe that's how it feels right now, and I don't know what could possibly reach these people. What more would it take? Like even the January 6th shit is mostly all this shit seems to be on a hold because we don't have enough Democrats. The solution is not going to be less Democrats winning.
Yeah, and it's very sad is really what it is, because this is the country. And they're going to, the question is, does a fictitious campaign to teach critical race theory to elementary school kids scare people more than the loss of medical choices.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they were scared of fake death panels, but now they have real interference from the pro-freedom crowd with women's choices over their bodies. And, it's going to, it's stunning. And my whole thing with this is the party of do nothing about climate change, do nothing about guns, do nothing to preserve the world or safety for children, but force people to have children. And like I said, I know I'm not radical left, and I use that jokingly, but it'd be a lot easier to take a pro-life argument seriously, even if you disagree with it, if there was a consistent ethic behind that of anti-death penalty, pro-environment, pro-gun control. That's a consistent code around life that one could say, I disagree, but you know what? We do have some agreement in some areas there. I appreciate but this is a cynical control women, win over yokel voters with like scare tactics and Bible. And, it's gross. And it's sad.
And the thing is, for anybody that knows the history of why we had to even have Roe v. Wade in the first place, when I tell you a lot of women and people with uteruses and ovaries are about to die, because the reason why this was passed in the first place, because women were going underground. Like just because you pass a law does not mean people are going to be like, well, I guess I'll get it done anyway. And you know what they were finding? Women in back alleys with clothes hangers in them, because they was like, I don't want this child. What they were finding were a lot of women and young ladies dead. All like the numbers were fucking ridiculous. The amount of dead women. This is why they passed this law.
As long as there are women and there are people trying to control their bodies, there are gonna always be women going no. This idea that abortion won't exist because it's not a law, that means nothing. Like, I'm not carrying a fucking child to term that I have to take care of for the rest of my fucking life if I don't want to. You know what I mean? And this and even like the resources people have for the mothers isn't good enough, adequate, because they cut those resources off. They do everything they can to make the world be like, do not bring a baby into this world, is all their other policies, except for this one that's like, I don't give a fuck if you're raped. You gonna bring a baby into this world. It's so morally inconsistent. And my man Said brings up, like, he thinks that the apathy angle is overblown. I agree with you. And that's definitely because I'm on social media. And social media, the loudest voices are a lot of these type of fringe group people, just like it is on the right, where it's like the people that get the most attention and seem to be the most vocal during these days are the apathetic people. And you have to look at how Twitter skews, social media skews, literate, learned, classed up. These are motherfuckers that mostly feel they'll be insulated against whatever changes fuck up the rest of people. Even black, white, brown, if you check any of the races, they're going to check some of those boxes, because the only people that can be on Twitter farting around all day are people that got like those type of jobs and all that stuff. So I fuck with you on that, Cedric. That's definitely true that the apathy angle is overblown in that way. We can't let that be the enemy of what the truth is. Joe Biden had the highest voter turnout of all time. Trump had second highest, but Joe Biden having the highest is a big fucking deal. There's more people that fuck with us and what we're saying than not. What I keep going back to, though, is 53% of white women are okay with this, because I honestly don't know what could shake you more to your core than this moment if you're a woman. And 53% of white women had to know this was possible in 2016. There's no way they didn't know.
I feel like it's sort of the way you talked about COVID people, where it's like deep down, I would say many of them, because a lot of them obviously switched in 2020. I think a lot of them would say no. Just like with COVID, like you
it
said,
won't
if
be
they
that bad.
right, like if they would wear the mask, if they actually thought they could get, like they think they're invincible or it's no big deal, then they get it. I feel like this will shake some people for sure, but you know, the Senate and the Electoral College is never going away now because the Republicans know, yeah, we're not going to give away the one locked in advantage we have to fight a population that disagrees with us. The Senate and the Supreme Court, we can still run on minority rule. And that's going to be the big problem for this country in like for decades, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because like even in this 2020, white women still broke for Trump. It went from 53% to 57%, and Trump was horrible for women.
It did?
And yes, and that's
wow.
After he got those three.
I apologize. Holy shit!
It's all good. I be knowing my shit, JL. I just don't flex. But yeah, it's just that thing where like I don't know if this is even enough. Cause like if in 2020 you after he got 3 justices, you didn't swing the other way, and you're a woman, what could possibly be your issue other than I mean race or something? Like what else could these women be voting about? You know? But anyway, other than that,
race, abortion, taxes, rat. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Or as I like to call it, blacks, race, abortion, brah. You see what I'm saying? Because women will have titties. That is normally what they have. Anyway, boobs, blacks only. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But this is also like a good day for me personally. Okay, I can't not celebrate. Matter of fact, I pulled out a little Scottie Pippen digits.
Oh, just pulling out the digits.
Just for a swig. I'm not gonna drink obviously the whole bottle because then I'll start talking reckless about Bomani. Because apparently that's what you do.
Nah,
the person on your team that carried you to all the victories is like, I take a sip of this shit. I'm like, you know what? That motherfucker was never that good in the first place. But I did want to give me a sip of this digits to celebrate.
We had to say that for balls deep behind the paywall.
Yeah, absolutely not drinking too much of this. But if you haven't heard, big news broke today on the Rod front. Game Theory with Bomani Jones has been renewed for season 2 by HBO. We're coming back. We don't know all the episodes and when yet. I assume next year after the Super Bowl sometime is what I would guess, because we not fucking with the big dog NFL on Sunday night. I guarantee you that's not happening.
Sometime after February.
Let me see. Watch the 4th quarter of the Packers versus the Bears, or tune in to see this black man tell me with some acerbic wit. But yeah, we got a 2nd season renewal. And they loved it. You know, we got a lot of Nina Rosenstein, the EVP of HBO programming, who came to all the tapings except one, which was on like Easter, so she couldn't be there. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. She was watching our shit live. So, you know, fingers crossed. We was like, I hope that means something. She's only like, you know, the highest person in charge and shit. But yeah, man, she put a quote: Bomani's perspective on sports comes from a great base of knowledge, unexpected insights, and a sharp sense of humor. He shows us a different side of conversation, why it's important and why we should care. Nina Rosenstein, EVP of HBO programming. He's only just scratched the surface, and we're looking forward to seeing what else he has up his sleeve. Let's motherfucking go. Okay.
She said that?
Yeah.
Let's motherfucking go.
No, I said that part.
I know.
But she meant it.
Congrats. That's big.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
So obviously, we'll see how next season works with like logistics of if we do remote, if we do in person, if we gotta be how many episodes and stuff. And I'm sure we'll be filling y'all in. But man, it was such great news, man. I was able to celebrate. I would like to really thank Fox News and Outkick Sports for writing about us every week, saying what a disappointment we were, how the ratings were terrible, even as they posted the ratings out of order to make it look like they were going down when they were going up. That's fine. And rest in peace, pull it out for the homie Bill Simmons, because they kept using him as the patron saint of whiteness, as like, why they cancel Bill's show, but this show ain't get canceled. I don't know. I don't make those decisions, but I do make the decision of writing for this show, and I can't wait to come back.
I think Clay Travis makes his wife watch Game Theory.
Yeah.
While he sits and jerks off in the corner.
Yeah. He sips on a glass of Scottie Pippen digits and sits in the corner in a suit, just groaning at like why his voice got to be so deep. I don't get it. What's so good about this? But yeah, man, Critical Game Theory season 2. But let's what we're really here to talk about though is actually JL Covan. Okay, my man, 50 grand, hard knock life. The man whose middle name is long suffering.
Wearing my Jazz hat, I don't want to forget where I came from, which is
man. Oh, let me ask you about the Jazz first, because I know we're here to talk about a bunch of stuff. We always talk about a bunch of stuff with you. Hey man, so last night I got asked the question, who do the Jazz keep, Rudy Gobert or Donovan Mitchell? I said Donovan Mitchell, but what say you if you had to keep one?
Me, like if I had to make the decision, I would keep Gobert. And I know for a lot of people, because I think you can get a lot for Mitchell from more people. Like more people would, like Gobert could get a lot from like a couple of teams, but I think there's a bigger market for Donovan Mitchell. Also, as much as I love both players, like this, I'm from the Stockton Malone school of, they played together 18 years. It took them like 14 years to make a finals. Like this new social media pressure is like unbearable, because it's like every season these dudes, it's like one dude's 29, one dude's 25. They're like, well, I guess we got to end it. And it's like kind of crazy to me. But
isn't it?
Because I'm just going 25, like 25 and 29, Malone and Stockton were like 35 and 36 when they made the finals.
You
like
only make this trade if literally these niggas cannot get along. Like, if there's like, and I don't know if the rumors are true or whatever, and I have seen people quote like some slanted kind of like really weird contextually, like he said that Devin Booker buys in on defense. That's a shot at. I'm like, but one is true.
I'll be honest. It may be a little bit of a shot, because
I was gonna say one is true, right? That which is something that always makes it feel like a shot, because it's not like he made it up.
Right.
Devin Booker does buy in on defense, and that is why the fucking Suns are better. But also, like, rabbit ears, right? Like, if your people are listening for this man to be taking a shot, they're gonna take it as a shot. As if there was no contention between them, I don't think you take it as a shot. I'll put it that way,
Yeah, I think what bothered me because I've been a huge Donovan, I've been fighting now I get it. Now it's different. But for years I kept going, why does Donovan Mitchell have to be compared to Devin Booker? Why isn't Devin, for their first 5 years, Devin Booker did nothing. Obviously, he didn't have a good team, but Mitchell showed up and looked like a star every year in the playoffs until this year, like a star. And his defense was so bad in the playoffs this year, it made him look like kind of like one of these 90s one-dimensional players who's like, he went off for 28 and his man scored 32. He's a star. And for Gobert, I think they got used to Gobert just cleaning up everything, because their defense, other than Gobert, when Gobert missed like 10 games in the middle of the season to random teams, it wasn't like the toughest stretch of the season. Right. They had the worst defense in the NBA over that stretch. Not like middle. They wouldn't go from like number 5 to number 15. Right. They stunk without him defensively. And I think as much as I like Mitchell, I think you can find another Mitchell. There's a lot of talent out there. I'm not saying I like him. I want him to stay. I'm very happy with him. But Gobert is this kind of unique big man, kind of a throwback, but he is an elite defender who has become a competent offensive player.
So does this mean you're giving Dominic Rivera his props now, because he's been anti-Donovan Mitchell for a long time?
And he was. I haven't heard him be pro Ben Simmons in a while. That's interesting.
Oh shit! I'm the one drinking the digits.
I'm just saying. There's not been a lot of Ben Simmons talk from him for the last few years.
Significantly, okay. I don't know where it came from.
They're on process. They're on process version 4.3 right now in Philadelphia. So like if you keep recycling and you keep getting and trading, at what point does it when does it become not the process and your team is a mismanaged bunch of mercenaries?
I mean, listen, they trusted the process a little too much with Ben. Okay. He couldn't carry the team on his back, but yeah, it does feel interesting that it's gotten to this point with the Jazz, because I do feel like they have more to gain by working it out and adding people than they have by breaking it up. But it's one of those things where it feels like narratively somebody got to go, and it's looking like it's either Gobert or Mitchell. I personally would have got rid of Gobert, but it's only because the reason they give up so many leads in the fourth quarter is because Doc Rivers, God rest his soul, figured out that you can fucking ISO Gobert. And I haven't seen nothing like this in a long time. Every fucking team does it now. Like, it was like literally nobody did it. The Clippers did it one time in the bubble, and we were like, oh, that was weird. And then from that point on, it's just like when teams want to score on the Jazz, pick and roll, Gobert ISO. And I don't know how you fix that. You know what I mean?
Well, what they do is what the teams do is they do a 5 spread, so that basically, here's the thing people don't, I think, understand is that it's not that Gobert can't guard a guy like a 6'9" guy at the 3-point line. It's that if he goes out to the 3-point line, it's a layup drill because nobody else can guard.
Yeah, and
that's the weird thing.
And everyone goes 5 small and in the fourth.
And we signed Rudy Gay to be a small 5 in those situations, and he didn't play at all in the series.
Right.
And that's where I put a little bit of that on the coach, where I'm like, well, what are we doing?
Because my thing is this: maybe they're not listening to the coach, and because I think the precipitous drop in defense isn't just a Gobert thing. We stop playing defense because we don't give a fuck what you tell us to do. Would you be open to them getting rid of Quinn Snyder? I think he's a great coach, but I'm just asking.
No, and I say this as somebody who's a fan of Quinn Snyder, but obviously I think it's possible, not certain, but it's possible that Quinn Snyder is like one of these coaches. He draws up good plays, and he's great at skill development. So he has a elite skill set as a coach, but is he maybe not the guy to get your team? He's the guy to get your team from 40 wins to 54 wins, which is very important. That's like from no playoffs to the 4 seed.
Right.
But there's a different set of skills and management skills getting you from the 54 wins to 60 wins. Like, that's a different elite level. That's why I always thought, obviously, Phil Jackson only coached, first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah. But that was his specialty.
Yeah, he came in and more so than the Bulls, I think his management of Kobe spoke to his skills as a manager. But if they got rid of Quinn, if they ran it through the team and got somebody else who might do better with this squad, then because there might be a comfort level now where these guys have played for Quinn Snyder for like 6 or 7 years, and maybe you need somebody, and it's not even I'm saying it's his fault. You might just need somebody to come in and be like, we're doing things differently. Like this team's too talented and too comfortable being a 49-win team. So.
All right. Well, that's a little segment I like to call Jazz Talk. We became and just like that, we became the #1 podcast for Jazz basketball fans around the world. The #1 source of Jazz basketball postseason analysis right here at the Blackout Tips. Now let's talk about you, JL Covan. You got some things coming up, okay?
I do.
One major thing is a taping of your special that's kind of like a retaping of a special that you did last year that, according to you, was your best special of all time.
Best set of my entire life.
In the room.
Yes.
You know, witnessed by those in the room, never to be seen outside of the room because the person recording it fucked up the camera work. It was shaky, and now you got to re-record your special, and it's been a year, so some of the material you got to start over and change. What's going on, man?
Wilt Chamberlain goes for 100 against the Knicks. They cancel the game, and they say, just go and do it again. Just go score 100 again, Wilt. It'll be fine. The new set is
you should have taken a picture. Hold on. You should have taken a picture after you did it with the black and white. Perfect special. And then we'd be like, we never saw the game, but that motherfucker hit 100 jokes that night.
The good thing about it is that it is preserved and will most likely be the album. So that first set will be hearable as an album. This set I'm nervous about because part of me is trying to, I've rewatched it, re-listened to it, and it's like you don't want to forget and lose some of the magic from that and some of the ad libs that should stay. And then I have a couple of new bits I'm filtering out. Probably 20 minutes and filtering in like 15 minutes, which is like including this one bit I have on serial killers, which I think might be my favorite bit of the entire thing. And I only started on it in November. Like I wrote it in November, December. So it wasn't even an option when I recorded the special. But, ticket sales, I sold out 2 weeks in advance for the first one. I'm like half sold on the second one. So everything is, falling apart on this one. And it's obviously a hugely important thing for me. And I really wish I wasn't doing it.
Why was the camera shaky? Like,
because
did they tell you
because
why?
It's me, Rod, because it's me. And somebody's talking about stabilizing it. This was looked into. It would have altered too much of it. It was bad. Like when I watched it, I thought it was going to be like the guys trying to sell it was being a stickler. Like, well, it's, for Netflix quality, it's not good enough. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let me look at it. The theater was small and packed. So he put the camera in like a tight area, like where it would fit. Now the camera needs to be in an area where like have its own area. It shouldn't be like we squeezed it in to like get it.
Anytime anybody bumps and moves around. Yeah.
And there was and the better I did, the more it shook.
Because people were laughing.
It was like the camera was having an orgasm depending on how good the joke was. So when I'm killing, it looks like somebody with Parkinson's is having a heart attack.
You should.
The camera's like, I'm gonna get these jokes too.
You should put it out, but bill it like that was on purpose. The shaky set or whatever.
It's the opposite of Rothaniel. In this special, too much is happening.
You could get some diversity and inclusion points. Like, listen, our cameraman has a disability, but I don't see disabilities. Okay, he has MS, and I hired him anyway and if you don't watch it, something's wrong with you. If you think that he can't, are you saying people with MS can't do this?
Wow.
Now, right? Exactly. Okay. Wow. So that's the kind of people that are watching my specials. I don't want you if you're that kind of person. You just got to go the full woke with it.
And then please watch my follow-up special, Cameraman, which is all about my friendship, my unfunny friendship with the handicapped cameraman.
Oh man, I feel
Emmy
so
winner.
bad. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Of
Listen,
course.
we didn't laugh, but we cried.
But
5
exactly.
innings.
But this special,
All
I mean, it
Oscars.
is. When I listened and then when I watched the special, like the October taping, I've never felt more conflicted in my life because I was so proud and sad at the same time because I was like, this really is my best. I really did it. Like I needed to deliver for me to feel like in other words, I wanted the special to be the thing that I either elevate my career, that I break through the Twitter algorithm F-ups and break through not having an agent. Like I wanted to be so good that it was undeniable that like I hire a publicist and all I need is one person with some clout or some connections to get word of it. And it would be that good. And it was that good. It was that special. It was the home run I needed. And if it didn't happen for me, that as like a final project my head would be held high and I wouldn't be like, I guess I'm quitting. I'm like, I would walk out, Joe Clark, East Side High, 1969. Fuck this place.
Actually,
I know I'm right.
I would compare it.
I won't believe you until it's official. I do not believe you, JL. I'm sorry. You have left and came back too many times. I won't. But like this, I do not want you to Tom Brady me. You're going to sit down for 3 months and come back.
I just feel like the comparison isn't Joe Clark. It's Shep in Above the Rim. Like you showed up in your khakis. You dropped 50. You saved the game. You saved Kyle's life. He becomes a fucking Georgetown player. And it's like if no one saw it, if there was never a movie about it, if the footage of the game was so fucked up,
nobody
they couldn't make Above the Rim. They're like, man, the basketball scene was so shaky. You ain't gonna believe this movie. It's a hood classic.
It's like Bigfoot. Like my special is like a Bigfoot sighting. Like what's that big funny thing running across the stage? I don't believe that's not a JL. That's not a JL.
You're a large man and you've been working out, getting in shape now. How does a man tell you that the shit didn't work? Like, did they tell you and run? Did they serve it? Did they serve it to you in an envelope? Did they get a person to serve it to you in an envelope? like you're divorcing Ted Lasso? Like, how do they give it to you? The bad news.
Well, and this is what I allude to on today's Righteous Prick episode. But basically, I was told the day after, looks good, sounds great. Congratulations, we backed it up. And so I was like, cool. And I know we have a financial stake in it together. So it's not like, why would somebody lie? So a few months go by and we contact somebody who's going to try and, it probably won't sell, but who's at least going to make an effort to sell it to a stream, like to a platform, whether it be Showtime or something lower than that, or if I'm lucky enough, like an HBO, whatever. That guy looks at it. I'm in California on week like 3 of my vacation tour. First vacation in years, headlining a bunch of clubs, really just like enjoying life for the first time comedy-wise in a long time, because it felt almost like a victory tour. Like I was hitting up clubs that I liked, headlining, meeting fans that I gained throughout the pandemic. And I get an email to talk. And the third-party guy looked at it and said, it's good, it's very good stuff, but it's too shaky. We have to reshoot it if we're going to sell it. Like this would have to be reshot. And I thought it was like, oh, this guy is like maybe being a stickler. Like he's being, because I hadn't asked I wasn't in a hurry to see the footage yet. Because I knew they were on a schedule. I was hoping to get it out at a certain time, but I knew it would take months. So then I finally get it like late March and don't even watch it for a little while because I'm just like, it doesn't even matter to me right now. I already rescheduled the reshoot. So I finally listened to it and then watched it. And I'm saying this, I know your podcast is very popular, but this is still in the 50,000 listener barbershop. I cannot see any way that somebody could have watched this the day after it was shot and said it was good. It's jumpy from second 10. and really jumpy, not like, and that is the part. And it keeps happening as I prepare for the special. I keep trying to get myself into like a good mental state of like, you can't go into this angry. You just got to do your work. But when you find that out, like less than 2 weeks, and you're like, wait, I should have.
You should have told me then
a long time ago. Because this
are you gonna work that into the special?
No. But if I see a camera tip over during the special, it's going to be a crime scene. Footage will have its day in court.
not to blame the victim, but I mean, you should have known when this was the cameraman. Like, I feel like
reverse flash.
I feel like that should have been a clue. Well, I mean, I'm glad you didn't murder the person because I know you probably wanted to.
And it's just it was. For me, it was so shell-shocking that when I found out, I was just in that like, oh, well, I mean, hey, man, shit, it was tight. It was shit happens, It was like a week later where it finally hit me, and it hasn't stopped hitting me. And I don't.
Have you talked to them since?
I actually can't talk about this
I
because I just have to be like, let's just have a good show. I know you don't want to screw it up again. I know I don't want you to screw it up again.
Also, they're filming this one too.
Yes, and the reason for that is because I don't want to give away too much, but it's because
they're liable in court.
Well, the people involved, as well as the third party who is a big person. I'm like, I don't want to say stuck with it, but it's like, it's when you're powerless, when you have no reps, I'm too deep into this operation now to be like, you know what? F this. It's just.
And this isn't indicative of the quality of their other work. Like, it's more than likely a one-off that they fucked up.
Of course, no, it's a one-off. Yeah. It's absolutely.
And then obviously that's more to do with you, because like, what are the odds of the universe that this will happen and this will be their first time? They should have known, and they'll know this time. Bring 17 cameras. Like. We just have to go through the
all
odds.
Of the angles.
Expect 16 of them to be shaky. And my other thing that's interesting is, because I listen to the show, I'm a big fan, JL. And
thank you.
It's funny that, because you were kind of like, I'm looking at the ticket sales, it's not where it needs to be. Fuck it, consolidated to one show. This is with a month left out. And I remember thinking like,
don't do that,
JL. Like, give people a chance.
Yes.
So many people make that decision at the last second. When it was our live show, as much as people love us, there were so many people on the day of that were like, we're buying tickets, and we got the tickets the next day. I was like, well, I mean, we would have liked to see this other go, so we know what we were getting into, but cool, whatever. Y'all had the option. But you consolidated it to make sure you have the artist, to make sure it be, and the irony that is the thing.
Like,
because it was packed, the camera was shaky. That is poetry. That is JL poetry. Slam his head into the desk.
Two recordings is better than one.
Oh my God, man. I could, like, as I was listening, because you didn't bring it up on the show, but that was like, it's like, wait, didn't he make sure it was packed? Because you were like, and every time people were laughing, it was just shaking. I was like, oh fuck. This is literally because he was like, I just want to make it the best possible with the most people. And God damn it, JL. Well, listen, when is the show? When is the new taping?
May 14th, 9:30 p.m. Saturday at the Triad Theater. So this, and the thing that's tough is that the last chunk, which I think I told you when I met you early in your game theory run, but the chunk that was toughest that I did like perfectly was about the JB Smoove video, where I discussed this line that I walked, where I was like, and I'm imitating people looking at me going, I mean, I believe JL and he's super funny, but look at his face. How can we can't let him do that? Like, I know his dad. I get, like, I understand, but can we? And I went through this whole thing where the whole joke in it is like, am I black enough to like do this? and we want to say, I know everybody kind of wants to say yes in the textbook and
Right.
on paper, but in reality, it's like, do I really think? And so it's like a perfect meeting. And then I bring in this Latin angle that was like, I didn't know how well it would do, and it crushed. And I was like, this is how I had hoped it would go. And just talking about like a Latin dude being mad at me for doing George Lopez. And then on stage, I just said, oh shit. Well, I'm not half Latino, so I think he might have me.
Yeah.
Like, actually, that may be a problem. And then a guy wrote back to me 2 hours later on YouTube and said, I looked you up. I see that you're half black. That's my bad. Very funny stuff, dude. And the whole tie-in is like, it calls back to a time when a Latin dude was using the N-word. And I said, is that the trade? And the crowd lost it because I said, oh, I get to dress up as Latin comics. He gets to say the N-word. Is that the harmony that we? And people like the way I did it, it just destroyed. But it's a very difficult thing to like, but I got it. Everybody was on my side. Everybody knew my story. I wove it in like all these stories of me being half black, not being respected in my life, so that I've built up this long story of like, so I decided, I was going to imitate this bald black comedian with glasses because my dad was a bald black guy with glasses. So like, can I do? And then somebody saying, you did blackface? I go, well, it was half blackface, really.
Yeah.
And that's where the title comes from. But it's like, I don't mind sharing it like that because the energy and the delivery is what I'm going to have to try and recreate for that bit, because it was like the degree of difficulty was high, but the execution was perfect. And the crowd was amazing.
I'm going to call it now, no matter how many people show up. And not to like, double down the jail Jinx, but I really think you're going to be able to pull it off again, man. I really do. I think you're a consummate professional.
You're good at what you do.
All the albums are fire. I have them all. I bought them. They're on my iTunes. And every once in a while, when I don't have like a podcast queued up or something, if I just press play or click my headphones when I have my AirPods in, it'll play a random track of yours. And every time I'm just like, this fucking guy is so good. So I don't know, man. I know it's daunting. It sucks. Nobody.
Oh, I got it. Like I said, I got to do like it's happening. Yeah. So like I will get into the right headspace by game time, so to speak. And it's going to be my best. Like there's no doubt the material is my best. This is my best. This is my most like hard funny.
Right.
But now the only thing I have to forget is how good the first one was, because this will be better than anything I've done other than maybe the October taping. So as long as I can forget the October taping, I'm still going to do my best work.
Yeah.
So I just have to,
that's how you have to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when Kobe scored 81, he had scored 60 something before then, and no one had tape of it against the Mavericks. We just heard about it. And then he said, okay, bitches, I'll score 81 on the Raptors. And everyone was watching that game. So hopefully that's what happens here. You also were on Billions. Star of stage and screen on these motherfuckers.
Come on through stage and screen.
And now I have to
watch homeless man's Janelle James.
Yeah. Listen, the blackout tells bump, don't care. Okay, it's gonna bump you.
If it wasn't me, I'd be co-starring on Abbott Elementary with her. But for me, one episode Billions is like, I can't ask your show to perform miracles. Exactly.
The JLG speaking the blackout tells bump is, it's a hell of a fucking we are fighting. Dude, we are in the fight of our lives. Okay, but we are gonna fucking take this Jinx down. So you were in Billions, which means now I have to watch all of Billions, so I can because I have that thing where I can't check out an episode.
Oh, and it's a weird, like my nephew and my mom watched it with me. They've never seen an episode of Billions, so I felt like bad because they were definitely bored and confused. I was like, I know. Like I know you don't get it. Just I'll be on screen. It'll be cool. But the funniest thing is, and I wrote this. I have 2 bits about Billions for the special that obviously I didn't have on the first taping, but the quicker bit is about friends just being like texting me mid-episode going like, I saw your scene, it was great. And I'm like, my scene? I have scenes. Can you keep watching? And I said, is this how porn stars feel about their work?
Yeah.
Friends are like, great work. I was like, you only watched 8 minutes. What happened? Well, I just lost interest. What was I doing a 45-minute movie for? Right. Get back there and watch me work.
Right. Listen to they interviewed me for 20 minutes for some unknown reason. Watch the interview too. Yeah, that sucks. Porn stars definitely, we don't watch all their work. Okay. But yeah, man. What was that casting situation like? The audition like? How did it work for you? And because it's still in a pandemic.
Yeah, it was. The creator of the show, Brian Koppelman, was like a big fan of mine with the Twitter videos and stuff. Really complimentary.
Monty Jones as well.
Yeah. So very complimentary, and it was just you see that and you're like, oh, that's so cool, thanks, and think nothing of it.
Right.
And then I get an email last July, June or July. Hey, I'm writing to you from the show Billions. Like we would like to audition you for a role. And I'm sitting there going like, is this a joke? Like I was like, I think this is real. It wasn't like I was like, yeah, right. I was like, I think this is real, but this could be a joke.
I just picture you being like, who put you up to this? Who? Tell me his name.
How'd you get my email, motherfucker?
Yeah. This is a prank. Was it Chris Lambert? Did Lambert do this?
It's not going down a checklist.
Is this Dan Ninen?
Yeah. You think it's funny to get a man's hopes up?
And so then I said, yes, I am interested.
Wait, hold up. This is too fucked up, but it's JL Covan, so I know you'll get it. I just picture you like taking the gun out of your mouth and then picking up the phone. Like if this is the movie about JL Covan. Yeah.
Horror.
Yeah. In the dramatization, that is how he's just finished recording The Righteous Prick. He's like, this will be the last episode. Fuck you motherfuckers, I'm out. And then the phone rings and he's like, nah, this says Billions. A call from Brian Koppelman? Oh man, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So I say yes, I'm interested, and they send me like part of the script, and they're like, could you do a self-tape? Now, fortunately, I took like 10 years ago, like a year of acting classes. So I had like some like the base, like do 2 takes. If they ask for 2 takes, you're a comedian. Like I remember the acting coach saying, since you're a comedian, if they want like a couple of takes, they're probably going to want you to do something crazy with one of your, like show them like you're the funny one. So like give them a regular take and then give them like a bigger take. So I did a self-tape and I was happy with it. Happy, like as happy as I could be to be like, I think that was good. Send it. Here's a funny thing. On the 9th day after my audition, I went on Righteous Prick and said, well, I didn't get it. And that's okay. And then I kind of did like a little joke about some of the dialogue where I was like, not roasting it, but I was just like, I was talking about one episode where I was like, and then the guy's like, yeah, well, I'm going to fuck you in the ass, you fucking bitch. Like it was, I forget what I said, but it was like very bro-y. I did like some bro-y thing. I go, I was like, but it was very cool to be, somebody gave me an opportunity. So that's really cool. The next day, hey, JL, very happy to offer you the role on Billions. And I was like, oh yeah. And they said, our offer is this. And it was like, I had been looking up, like, what's a 1 episode guest, like non-SAG amount? And it was 4 times. I mean, the amount I saw was like not huge, but it was 4 times what I was expecting. And I was like, let me talk this over with my agent. Yes.
Yeah, right. I am agent. That was like when I got interviewed for Game Theory, and I was at the last phase, so it's the Zoom interview, and they're just like, this is what the job entails, this is what you have to do, and they're like, you have any questions? We get to the end, and I'm just like, I have a couple questions. Do I have to move to New York to do this? And they're like, yeah, it's an on location thing. I was like, all right, cool. How much does it pay? And they were like, it would be blank amount. And I just had to be like, yeah, okay. I'll definitely consider that. And I hang up and I'm just like, they are give a week. People just make this. You just get this for
And I was
for being funny.
I was in the background working so I could hear him through the Zoom.
I've been the funniest nigga at a job for free.
Is that your wife twerking in the background while you consider the offer?
Is that your agent?
Karen's mic wasn't on, but it's like this too much. She was just like in the background, like, yes, weekly pay. You know,
yes.
Come through.
Come on through, weekly pay.
A bunch of nodding in the background.
Yeah, so I had to, because you know, like it's to people that are seasoned in the game, it's probably like chump change to them at this point, and especially because those people do have representation, which I'm sure there's higher levels than I'm on, but for me, I don't really need it because the contracts are negotiated already because the guild, like, it ain't really it's no work I have to do to be like, I need more than this. It's like, you can't have more because this is all they can pay you for this amount of money. And so for me, it was like, dope. I get to put all this money in my business and, you know, kind of keep it there or whatever. But if you're in the game with representation, then they got it. Your agent, your manager, your lawyer, then they want to check before you get your money. They get the money. Like, I worked with one dude that was like, yeah, man, we had been there like 6 weeks, and he was like, I was like, yeah, man, everything's cool, you know, and I mean, look, the money's good, blah blah. He goes, man, I haven't even got my check yet. I said, bro, we've been here in New York for 6 weeks. How are you not homeless? Like, he was like, my money has to go through like so many people before I get it, that this is just a process for me of waiting to get my money after someone cuts me a check. So yeah, man, definitely, like, in that case, as much as it sucks in other areas, I'm sure you were glad not to have representation, quote unquote, to pay some motherfucker.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was like, and I already feel bad about saying like I mocked it lightly, because I really was like, I wanted it, even though I didn't. And I had like been speeding through the show. I'd never watched it, and I had been like 25 episodes in a week.
I don't want to spoil this for you, but you are a comedian by trade, and I think you making jokes is well within the boundaries.
No, I know, but it is.
I listened to those episodes. It never felt disrespectful.
Right. But to me, it is one of those things where I'm like, very few things in this business I have had the opportunity to be truly grateful for, and that was one of them. And everybody was really nice, but just getting it was like, agent or no, it was just like, oh wow. Like, part of me in that spiteful mentality was like, no agent, no problem. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so there was a little pride there also, like, hey, somebody, the guy who made the show recognized me, and then I got it. And you know, and I predicted, unfortunately, I said it'll probably be like a one and done, and like won't leave, because I don't have an agent or a manager to keep the momentum going. Because any decent agent or manager, the day after that episode airs, would have like that reel out and go, do you have any roles for like big finance bro or gym bro, or like, you know, even if it's, you get typecast a little bit to get the career going. You know, I had this fun, like, role, like a fun, noticeable role. But yeah, it's a huge, obviously huge highlight. And it was when I got it, I was like, I got to be very grateful, because it was one of those few times I had low expectations, not because I thought I did a bad job, but I was like, I'm not an actor. Like, I do sketch stuff and things, and I have some skills, but I'm not like maybe I did a shitty audition. I don't know. I tried. But comedy, I'm very confident. And that's why I get so mad, because I'm like, well, I know I'm awesome at this. So why aren't the things coming? So to get that was just a really nice, I had just given up on it, but like in a healthy way, not like with comedy. Like, I had been like, I literally was like, well, it was very nice for them to consider me. I really meant that. Like, thank you. And then the next day I got it, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I try to keep that attitude. I think it's a self-protection thing where I don't expect much from shit. And it does make it dope Like it does. It's like the husband in what is it? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen this.
I hear that. I mean, I've heard you guys say it's really good.
I liked it,
and I've
I
heard
saw
other
it
people say
yesterday.
it's really good.
But he basically talks about how being kind, being optimistic is not just because he's a fucking idiot. It's because it's strategic. Because that's how he manages to go through life and not be crushed. And I think that's how I've managed to go through, is to be like even when I was applying for this job or submitting a package for that job, I was like, yeah, I mean, if I don't get it past this round, that's fine. It's honored that they even asked me to submit, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd be like, you didn't just get it, you fucking crushed it. I'm like, all right, cool. And it's like, and round 2 is coming up. It's going to be even harder. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just do my best and we'll see. Like, at no point was I like, I fucking dominated that shit. I know I'm going to get this job. But, I mean, at the same time, it doesn't cut my confidence, because after I got it, I was like, of course I got it. I fucking killed that shit. I knew I killed that shit. I was just hoping y'all knew I killed that shit. So like it's that level, but I think anytime, like that's the whole thing, and more than anybody, the whole lie of like this meritocracy thing is so, if you do commit to the meritocracy, it's so rare that someone is willing to be like, hey, look, we don't know this guy. There's not a big Instagram following. He hasn't been in something else, but he just fucking killed it and we should cast this guy. That's so rare that you almost have to be grateful, or else you fucking mass shoot the fucking set of billions.
Yeah. Oh boy. We wrote in 3 episodes for JL, but then we heard some controversial comments about a mass shooting, and that wasn't me. That was Rod. But yeah, it was
recording.
But I think that's partly why, like, the special to me is so, if I can deliver again, it's going to be the thing that I can lead. Like, I know Karen says she doesn't believe me and nobody believes me, but it is like the perfect, I'm not a both sides guy. Like, that's the lazy way to be like both sides. No, but as far as comedy goes, this is like the perfect both sides. Like, shut up, you whining white cancel culture bros. Shut up, progressives who don't like me because I don't look POC enough for my jokes to make you feel good. It is like, it is guns blazing, but not that like in your face. Look, I'm getting you and I'm getting you, bro. It's just, I do my thing.
Yeah.
Many victims, many great jokes, and
I'm excited, JL, and maybe I'm the person who likes to watch a suffering artist, because it's one of these things where I actually really do enjoy you, and I'm like, I actually don't want him to go away. I mean, I know it's hard, and I know he's going through a tough time, but do you really got to go away?
I don't know. I look at it like Breaking Bad, when he's done selling meth and he's just like living in a hut in Alaska somewhere or some shit. And to me, I'm kind of like, yeah, man, you're out the game. Don't go back. Like,
but, no. And this is me getting in the van to go get Jesse.
You're going to get Jesse. and while they see it like, yes, more Breaking Bad entertainment, I'm like, this nigga gonna die. Just stay in the hut. You know what I mean?
Like the October special was the say my name.
Yeah.
You're damn right. This special is me with a beard coming from New Hampshire to get shot up at the meth lab.
Well, man, I'm rooting for you, dog. Honestly, but I'm always rooting for you. But
yes,
I know.
Yeah, I never
great
know.
support here.
Yeah, we always your cheerleaders.
But I cannot. But fuck, because this is another thing I was thinking about. Fuck the like. This is not a pity angle here. I'm trying to tell people. Go see him because he's fucking hilarious.
Yes, he is.
Like, I can't stress this shit enough. Like, if you don't believe it, buy one of the albums, stream one of the albums, whatever you have to do to get your hands on the album. But go listen to the album. It's not just like, oh, here this motherfucker is. They like him, so they're just saying this. I would never call somebody funny I didn't think was funny. I would never encourage y'all to go see somebody I thought was whack. Low key, I wouldn't have him on the show. But that's so like I just think don't like I hope people aren't because I know if you listen to Righteous Prick, JL can be like kind of like listen, it's kind of almost morose to some extent.
Yes, JL
and it's like
nobody knows.
Yeah, and you forget this motherfucker's telling you like, come see me because I'm funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like underneath all that, like the taping didn't go right. Should I kill the cameraman or not? Is this like is this like the show because the podcast isn't like bits really.
Mm-mm.
So it's like it's not a sales pitch. The sales pitch is like I should just fucking end this, and maybe that's why you're not showing up because I should just end it, right? Because fuck me, fuck y'all. And it's like no, that is the opposite vibe. He doesn't go on stage and say that,
No.
I honestly, man, I wish I had.
I wonder do people should be presently surprised. I was like, he's actually pretty funny, and he's not actually depressed. But
yeah, we saw him in Raleigh, man. We drove 2.5 hours.
Oh, that was such a fun show.
Years ago. I think he was middling.
For Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah, Eliza. Yeah, and honestly, man, he had us dying. Nick Jew was there, Terrellin. I think Leonard Brothers went with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we were dying laughing because he was so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope y'all understand that. I don't want y'all to just think that we're just saying some shit. Just go to his page and check out this video. I think it's liberal comedian wins over MAGA crowd with Trump impersonation.
The Let's Go Brandon. It's the Let's Go Brandon one.
That's the one I'm talking about. Is that the one?
Yeah, the Let's Go Brandon one where it's like roast Let's Go Brandon hecklers or whatever.
Okay, that's the one.
It's on my page. It's on my website actually. Like it's like if you just go to the home page of jlcomedy.com and scroll down, it's like that's the featured video still.
Boom. I will do that right now, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes. That shit right there is so fucking funny. It's 6 minutes, so I won't play it now because I get that this is obviously I'm gonna put it in the show notes because y'all motherfuckers should check it out because I was watching this shit on like Twitter and YouTube and I was dying because I was like, this is the essence of just like funny, still integrity. Like it's not like funny and he sold out to these MAGA fans so he could, and also not really like a mean like.
They liked me after that was one of the like you'll see white comics who will kind of go, I went into the black room and I crushed. You know how good that felt? For me, it's not about I have done a couple of I did this show in Long Island a couple of weeks ago and I'm talking like Trump red psychos.
He might not be.
Sorry, I didn't mean to play it.
That's all right. It was like it was hardcore Trump people. Almost not everybody, but like 75% of the crowd was like, "Let's go, Brandon." 50% was probably like the election was stolen, and I never gave them anything, but I won them over because I was funny, and that's like I was so proud of that. And I talked to some of them after, and I joke with some of them where I go, well, just remember, okay, I know you hate Biden and Democrats are the worst, but you're sitting here talking to me. I made you laugh. You laughed at yourself. So the next time you want to say, let's go, Brandon, think of me and say, not worth it right now. It's a stupid little thing, but it's like a game I play to preserve my own integrity. But to make them laugh while not, well, I'll do my impressions and talk about my family and I'll steer clear. No, I got up there and made fun of Let's Go Brandon. I got up there and was like mocking Trump for being a fake Christian, like not ever attacking anybody in the crowd. Like one guy, but I won almost everybody over in that crowd because I was funny.
Right.
And sometimes those people will not let you have it. And then my technique, not to give it away to everybody, but my technique with these crowds that I find very effective, as soon as I say something they don't like, as long as it's not something like personal, I just go, oh, wow. Okay. See, I thought it was the liberals who were the snowflakes, but I see we're sensitive here as well. And then you see them like, it's basically the comedy equivalent of a guy going, "I'm not gay."
Yeah.
I'll
Like
fuck her right now.
Right.
I'm totally straight.
They start
So-
overcorrecting.
Yeah. And then it'll but it is funny because I don't do it in like a goofy way, but I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were super sensitive here. Like I do it with some confidence so that it's not like they start to go like, come on, man. And then you kind of get them, because my job is not to change these people's minds about life. I'm getting paid to do a show. I want to enjoy my time. The best way to do that is to make them laugh, but without being a fucking sellout.
Right. Yeah, exactly, man. I like I said, it's a great bit, and I thought it was so dope, man. All right, we got a late start here, so I know that we kind of had pushed this back, and I'm sorry about that, JL.
That's all right.
But,
one last plug while we've got people's attention. My Patreon started last week, and tomorrow, or maybe when people are listening to this today, so on Wednesday, sometime Wednesday, the latest thing to go up will be Joel Osteen's The Exorcist.
yes.
And that's that's like early access. So what I'm basically doing with the thing is like there's a couple of monthly video series.
Tell them the name of it.
Oh, JL Max Plus Prime. So you can just go to patreon.com/JLCovan, but I gave it like a big name, JL Max Plus Prime, and bonus podcasts, like videos that are actually like produced, not just me with my cell phone, just trying to create like,
I mean, you filmed your first sketch since COVID with other people. Like, that's a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was because I've written a bunch of sketches and now I can start making them again. And that's what I was doing before. I had like my kind of crew of like 6 to 10 New York area comedian sketch people that, some of the sketches were great, some were okay. But this one, I've been thinking about for a long time, and people wanted me to do a follow-up to Joel Osteen, but that's not one that I can really do by myself, like with a cell phone and really capture it. So I thought doing a reboot of The Exorcist where he's hired to do the exorcism. Spoiler, it doesn't work, but he cuts a content deal with the devil.
Of course he would. Of course he would. Like, and that's the thing. People that have only become aware of you in the last couple of years through the pandemic and the Trump impression, they don't realize in many cases, like, you were doing sketches and impressions that were fully fleshed out. Like, it wasn't just some cell phone thing. And obviously in the pandemic, it's much harder to do that. It's almost impossible to do it safely until vaccines and tests and shit are presented. So it was cool to see that happen where like he's like the earth is healing again. JL's doing sketches. I recognize a couple of the faces in there. Like, I remember this guy.
I'm doing sketches. My career is failing. Everything is coming back to normal.
The earth is healing. The specials are being fucked up with the taping. It's shaky cam. Like the JL Jinx is in full effect. You love to see it. But yeah, it was so beautiful to see that the sketch was being filmed. I was like, oh my god, here we go. So
because you know this because you now you've written for a show and like have seen your work become on the biggest scale possible. But I'll never forget the first time, one of my first sketches, there used to be these ads called Tax Masters that ran on like CNN. It was this burly, angry guy who'd be like, "We will handle your taxes for you." Yeah. And I got a friend to play that guy. And I said, "You can't be angry enough." But the joke was that he came to like your accountant with thugs who beat the shit out of him because he was so angry. And that was my first video. That got like 30,000 views when I was like doing nothing. And I just played one of the guys coming in and beating up the accountant. I don't think I had any lines, but to see other people make what you wrote that's funny and then kind of make it like, hey, I think they took their spin and made my stuff even a little better. And that was an important moment for me, I think, as a comedian, because it was like, oh, part of me, of course, wants to be the center of attention and be on stage and things like that. But it also opened me up to the idea of, being part of a collaboration and letting somebody else like sharing in that can actually feel better. Not like, well, I guess it's okay that I wrote it. Like, it can be like, that's cool that somebody else like, you know,
I love it.
what I did. And some people may not have that, but
I'm more of a like, it's like when I play basketball, I'm a really good passer, and that feeling in the pandemic, since I haven't been playing ball, obviously I don't, want COVID, but I can't get it anywhere. But in the writer's room, it's very close. Like, where you say an idea that sharpens someone's idea, someone says something that sharpens yours, someone delivers something. You throw some, and then like, especially with us doing the show, as people got more comfortable and started understanding people's roles, you would see people try things that they wouldn't have tried before.
Right.
Like I had a corny joke, dad joke about Mike Malarkey's last name, and I was like, I threw it out in the room. Was like, everyone laughed, and then I was like, yeah, but it's corny, I get it. And Bo was like, I'm gonna try that, and I'm like, okay, like, we cooking with something here, like. And so it's absolutely. And then when you write dialogue for somebody and they deliver it in a way that's like better than you thought, that is a great feeling, where you're just like, oh, and that's why you should collaborate. Because I think creative people, especially, you've been working as a stand-up, so you do a lot of stuff on your own. Of course you think your shit is hot fire. You wouldn't be doing it if you thought it was whack. But when someone shows you a way it could be better, I think that's the true test. Because if you reject that shit, that's why your shit's gonna always be whack. You know what I mean? Shit, we've done it here where you've been a guest on the show and just we start riffing, and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, this will be fucking funny, right? And this,
well, Burnfall is the greatest example of that. So where it was just like it was almost like watching like songwriters write a song where you kind of have like a tune and you're like, and then honestly,
the strain, like, there's these moments of organic shit, and like it is like honestly, thank you to you, because those were moments that helped me too, you know what I'm saying? Because those are moments of like building with somebody that's funny and coming up with something and being at the end like, yo, that felt good, right? Like that, like that can be a thing.
I'm in the room because I am one of those people who just throw corny shit out there hoping it'll land somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, literally, you need all that. I think honestly, you and Justin, I keep saying this, but like in that room when people are coming up with jokes, it's a bit chaotic. It's kind of like Hungry Hippos. Okay. Everybody's throwing shit out. Everybody's trying to get to their joke first. And you and Justin doing that kind of shit all the time, disrupting the show, quote unquote, is part of the reason I was able to learn my timing to be like, this was like, there's times when I go in that room and unbeknownst to them, I've written down everything I'm going to say because I've anticipated everything that will be said that day, but I don't say it that way. So like, I'm like, there'll be a time where someone will pitch this joke and that's a cool joke, but what would be funnier is if this joke. And so they pitch that joke and then I'm like, oh, and you know what else? Blah, blah. And they think I just like, oh, you just came up with it. It's like, no, I sat down for a couple hours and came up with these, but I'm only able to anticipate that shit because we've been talking to funny people live for a couple thousand episodes or whatever. So so to them it's just like, wow, this guy's really fucking sharp. And I'm just like,
like, he's really good at this. No, me and Justin been derailing him on Ball Deep Sports the whole time and off topic.
So, but yeah, man, go see JL Covan.
Yes, go see JL.
The 14th is a Saturday.
And if you're in anywhere near Philly or Allentown, I'm at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville, Pennsylvania, May 22nd. Tickets are on my website, and then Boston in July. So the tickets, but the special is hopefully going to be ready to go somewhere, if not just for sale in July. But that's the big, because it's a weird feeling because I set the expectations high, but I know it's my best work. So it's like the only question is, how much better does it do than my previous stuff? Will it do a little bit better and I can go, okay, that was nice? Or will it break through and somebody see it? Like, I'm going to hire a publicist and all that shit for it, just because it's like, this is it. This is all, once it's ready, you know, I'm not relying on, I gotta get anybody and everybody on board to try and get it seen, get it recognized. So we'll see.
Good. Y'all check it out, man. And check out Billions. Follow the YouTube, the Twitter. He's still doing all kinds of impressions every day of the Johnny
Cory
Depp.
Booker hooked me up. Yeah. See that? Like, Cory Booker retweeted my Cory Booker, which was very cool.
That was so fun. Yeah. Who knew? Honestly, that should be making me feel like, oh, he's a cool guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just like it when he's on his Instagram. He doesn't say family. Family. I am out here in these streets jogging. It's good for cardio. It's good for the soul. As Maya Angelou once wrote, running is for the spirit what breathing is for the lifeblood of my people. And like, and what I love about him, and my whole thing is still Booker and Buttigieg. That's like, no disrespect to Kamala Harris, but I look at those two dudes and I go, brilliant, positive, young, both Rhodes Scholars. Yeah. Give me a ticket with those two in whatever order.
Right.
And like, let's get the brilliant positivity and experience going. But Cory Booker is one of those guys where Buttigieg has it down. Like, he's that Bill Clinton thing of like, I'm smart, but it's folksy. I can give you that folksy. Booker doesn't come off as like nerdy to me, but it's like he can't even, I don't think he can control his intelligence. Like, as Martin Luther King said, and most people have like a sentence, he's like, page 2. He then like, he has like the speech memorized, but he said like he's not even searching for it. Like, his brain is so packed with brilliance that he's just like, at least Buttigieg and Clinton will give you that like pause to make you think like, I'm just like you. I'm just thinking of the right word. Whereas Booker's like, I am not thinking of the right word. I have the entire book family committed to memory.
And then, what made you come up with the Johnny Depp impression?
Well, my girlfriend Laura is a like, that's her, like, just, you know, oh my God, Johnny Depp. Like, she's in that group. Like, if we lived in DC, she'd be like, I'm taking off this week. Oh, for what? Nothing. Just got to go down to Virginia to hang out for a while. And she'd be like in the courtroom.
Yeah. Risk it all.
He's such a character.
Yes.
Like, he's such a, hello. My wife. And I'm like, what part of Kentucky is that accent from? And that's why I thought of the Mitch McConnell talking to Johnny Depp. I'm like, these two, I did it on stage this week, and I was like, how are these two from the same planet, let alone the same state? And yeah, so like, I may do a thing this weekend for like the Kentucky Derby. I don't have any big hats, but if I could get like some bonnets, Mitch McConnell and Johnny, it'll look like a Johnny Depp hat though. Like, it'll look normal on Johnny Depp, and then McConnell in like a Kentucky Derby bonnet.
Oh, God. Why?
But it's fun. It's fun to just keep like that is one of those things that I picked up. And the good thing is, like I said, I want people to join the Patreon. I want to find different ways to like connect with people and monetize some of the stuff. But the truth is, I do enjoy just like, fortunately, I have I'm prolific. So like, I don't ever worry about like, oh no, I gave away all that I can do. I'm very good at just generating shit, but it is fun to, I just wish.
As Trump fades away, do you feel like the urge to do these, or just the room, not even the urge, the room to do these other impressions coming back? Because I think that's another thing. If people got introduced to you in the last couple of years, one, they probably think most of your impressions are just like political,
right? And
then two, they probably mostly think it's like Trump or something. And I mean, obviously, you can go back in the archives. This is the man of a million voices. Like, you can do so many people. And I know, like, there needs to be a certain quality and standard, or you'll
Right.
like you kind of like it. Like if you don't do Obama enough, you'll stop really just like throwing Obama because you're like it's not up to snuff. So like, do you feel the space to like be coming back to these or just finding new impressions?
I think so. I think it helps because obviously during the pandemic, it was like the news was all political. So that was who I was going to get exposed to. And that's unfortunately, and I appreciate you giving me a shout out this week about if the cost to getting these guys off Twitter was that JL's Twitter algorithm had to sacrifice, so be it.
Yeah.
It made me feel like the Jesus of social media comedy. Hopefully the special will rise me from the dead. But it is good. Like what I'm actually even more excited about is like a lot of the sketches I wrote have nothing to do with impressions, because that's like the thing I'm even more eager to do is just share more of my comedy voice, you know, like that I can't do on a cell phone or through an impression. You know, like I have one sketch I wrote about like I just wrote, the title is like Black Voiceovers, and it's 2 white casting directors bringing in black guys because it's like we're recasting the show. You know, we want representation. We want to use, you know, we've made mistakes. We want to use black actors to voice these characters, and then everybody coming in will sound Jackie Robinson, Brian Gumbel. Yeah, and you see just frustration of like, that's good. You know, we love the fact that you're bringing an authentic voice. Is there any way you can make, like, can you deepen, like, can you just, hey man, like, hey. And then obviously at the end it's like, can you be black? Can you sound black? Right. Like, so like sketches like that have nothing to do with impressions, but that is like my humor, you know, reflected in some sketches.
It does, like, I mean, I'm knock on wood, obviously, because Elon Musk could fuck up Twitter and bring Trump back, and everything could be back to what it was. But it does.
Oh, and I did the Elon Musk this week, which people enjoyed.
Yeah, so like there's room to me. It feels like, at least in your comedy and maybe even in the world, there's like room to not be suffocated by just Trump politics and the same 3 debates about cancel culture over and over again. So, you know, I don't know. I like to see that, you know, when it's like, oh, he, like you said, here's this Elon Musk impression. Here's this. I love that.
And I do like when I see other impersonators, because my thing is on TikTok, especially, you see there's a lot of people. Some only have like one, but it's great. And they can make their name off one. Some people have several, but I always get perplexed when I see like an impersonator. And obviously the Chappelle is the most controversial that I do. I'm proud of it. I think it picks up on something, even if it's not like identical. I think it hits enough of how he sounds now. But when I see people doing like bad impressions, but they also do really good ones, I go, why would you want to dilute? Like, just why do you want to be the guy who claims to do 100? Be the guy who does 10 A+ impressions instead of throwing in like 60 B- with it. But I do think the advantage I have that a lot of these people don't, for whatever it's worth, is my humor is so much better than a lot of the you know, they'll just be like, oh, I can read this. I can read like this thing as him, and it sounds really funny. It's like, but I kind of try to give life to each one of these characters or impersonations. So it's been as frustrating, and as much as I roast some of my new fans when they get out of line, I am grateful for it. I just wish I was reaching. My only real complaint is that by only reaching like 15% of my followers, I'm not getting the potential of the fans I've already gotten. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what's frustrating. It's not like, oh, I should have 1 million followers. I should probably have like 300,000 just based on the people who I was tracking with. And if I'm reaching like 40% of those people once a day, I might have quit. Honestly, I might have been able to quit the law firm job because the YouTube numbers would be much bigger. The you know, the engagement, the people seeing the cameo, like everything would just be hitting, and it'd be hitting people that already are fans. That's what's frustrating. It's like, it's not about like, I should be reaching everybody. It's like, I don't need to reach. If I was reaching 200,000 people, that would be like, that's all I need.
Right.
I don't even need, but I'm reaching like, you know, 8,000, you know, because like I had videos blow up when I was nobody, and now I can't have videos or tweets blow up like that despite having 40 times the followers. So thank you, Trump. You live by the Trump, you die by the Trump.
Honestly, people have died worse deaths by the Trump. Specifically TikTok comedians. All right, y'all. This was fun. Make sure y'all check out JL Covan's podcast. Many of them, The Righteous Prick, the making podcast great again. Check out JL Plus Prime, JL Max Plus Prime.
You got to get it right. Very important for the branding.
Yeah, someone else bought the other domains and the other orders and shit. Dan ain't about the other domains. But make sure you follow him on Twitter, JL Covan. Man, always rooting for you. I know this fucking news. I know it's a lot of stress, but there's a new special. I know it's gonna be great, man. And if nothing else, I can't wait to hear the audio from the perfect special so I can compare it to the video for the new one, and we'll see who was really right. Okay,
the one advantage is that the bit that I'm most excited about, the serial killer chunk, is on the new one. So like that alone is giving me like okay, like that. You know, there's a couple new bits. So.
I got low key got some of the beats to it when we hung out. He was kind of giving me some of the like, this is what it's about, and it's hilarious. So I know it's gonna be great when it's on stage, and I hope y'all check him out, man. And honestly, man, I'll be disappointed if like he did this show, and then I find out that nobody from our show went and bought tickets to go to his show. Then what the fuck is y'all's problem? Okay. So make sure y'all do that. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We also got a couple movie reviews that are gonna come up soon. Everything Everywhere All at Once, Turning Red. I know we watched those, so we need to do those reviews. And yeah, that's it for now. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Thanks, JL. So sorry about the timing, man. But
no. This was great. Thanks so much. As always.